When Mexico granted land in California, it promised justice. The U.S. tore that promise apart. Follow California buried history if you're ready for the truth America wrote out of its own textbooks. After Mexico won independence from Spain, it ended the mission system and returned huge areas to Native and Californio families. Those grants were meant to repair centuries of abuse, a fragile kind of justice finally taking root. Then came 1848. The U.S. invaded, called it annexation, and signed the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, promising to respect every Mexican land title. That treaty lasted about 5 minutes. Within a decade, U.S. lawyers rewrote property rules, demanded proof in English courts, and charged fees worth more than the land itself. Families who had titles signed by Mexican governors lost everything. Ranchos became railroad property. Native lands became public domain. And the U.S. called it progress. How do you build a democracy by erasing the people who already owned the land? That's your deep question. Should the U.S. be forced to acknowledge that its California wealth was built on fraud? That's your discussion question. And simple one, did you ever hear about the treaty that California broke on purpose? Yes or no? California's dream started with a lie, a promise of justice turned into a blueprint for theft. Comment what truth hit you hardest, follow California buried history, and share this before the myth rewrites it again. California didn't just steal native land once, it did it twice. Follow California buried history. If you're ready for the truth, the state still refuses to admit. When the U.S. took California from Mexico in 1848, it promised to respect all land grants. That was the lie that built the Golden State. Within a decade, American lawyers, bankers, and politicians rewrote the rules, forcing Mexican landowners, many of them indigenous or mixed native, to prove ownership in English courts designed for them to lose. Overnight, families who'd lived here for centuries were branded squatters on their own soil. But that was just theft part one. While they stole from Mexico, the U.S. government quietly signed 18 treaties with California tribes, and then hid every single one in Washington, unratified, sealed from public view for decades. That's right, they made fake peace, then erased it from history. How can a state celebrate freedom when it was built on fraud and land grabs? That's your deep question. Should California finally admit those stolen treaties were the foundation of its wealth? That's your discussion question. And simple one, did you ever learn that California's treaties were deliberately hidden? Yes or no? The state calls it annexation. History calls it betrayal. Comment what truth hit hardest, follow California buried history, and share this before they bury it again.